Hi there, everyone. My name is Christian Eschbach. Welcome to another one of my album reviews, and this marks the beginning of a Rob Zombie triple shot. Now, usually when I do a triple shot, I have a tendency, sometimes I'll do them in a row, sometimes I'll just grab from wherever in the catalog. I decided when I'm going to start off Rob Zombie, I'm going to start off from the beginning of Rob Zombie's solo career, and I'm actually going to do these albums in order. And there is a reason for this. Rob Zombie has said himself that until he met John 5 and started working with John 5, he was ready to quit the industry. He was done. He thought it was over. He didn't think he had anything new, nothing original to add anymore. He figured he did everything he could. He was done. And John 5 came on board on Rob Zombie's third completely new solo album. So there is the album that we're looking at today, Hellbilly Deluxe, Sinister Urge, and then the Greatest Hits album, Past, Present, and Future. And yes, I am going to cover that for a few reasons, even though I normally stay away from Greatest Hits packages. I've also got something else special I'm going to talk about at the end of that. Oh, that's right. I'm going to be talking about singles. Can't get flagged. There's no nudity. I'll talk about that too, though. All right, let's get into the album first. All right. We got 13 tracks. A few of them are basically just fillers, soundscapes with a little music mixed into them. You know, things that Rob did that were really things that a lot of bands from the 90s did. They were popular. And it was basically just to help fill up a CD. And that opens up the album, Call of the Zombie. Rob does that on quite a few of his albums, where he'll have the little soundscape opener to get the album up and running and whatnot. And he doesn't do it on every album, but he does do it on quite a few albums, probably more often than not. Call of the Zombie, it's nothing interesting or spectacular, really. It's not like it's going to be some soundscape that's memorable. You're going to, it's going to live on forever or anything like that. There's very few soundscapes out there that do that, and off the top of my head, I can't think of any right now. I'm sure there are some, though. Then we go into Super Beast. One of the first, I don't remember if it was, I believe it was an official single. I know it was used for one of the Godzilla movies. I want to say it was Godzilla 2000, maybe it was used for. I could be wrong. Been a while. Cool tune. I know there's people that like it. I think it's pretty stock, though, for Rob. Then we get to Dragula. Okay. Dragula is actually one of the few songs off this album I will still listen to. I don't listen to many songs off this album anymore, but I'll get into that towards the end as I go here. Dragula is a fun song. It really is. It's enjoyable. It's got good hook. It's got good groove. And I actually am, this is actually kind of nice full circle right now. I am a Munsters fan. I loved the Munsters as a kid. I got to catch them in syndication. I used to love watching them. It was one of my favorite TV shows to watch. When I heard that Rob Zombie was going to do it, I'm like, oh, and I got really excited because Dragula is the Munsters. That is directly where it comes from. It was Grandpa's hot rod in the Munsters. So Rob Zombie is a Munsters fan, and he says that he's going to do it, and he's going to have the humor in it, and I hope he has the humor. I hope he does it truly as just, and not TV necessarily adaptation, but I mean, I know what Rob can do. You know, I hope he can combine the humor as well as he can bring on the horror, and I hope he doesn't turn it into a bad parody of what it once was. But Dragula, oh yeah, good tune. And I'm sure, let's be honest, folks, if there is not a scene in the movie where Grandpa gets into Dragula and you get to, you just that cliche moment that Rob has been dreaming of his entire life where he gets to have Dragula playing while Grandpa's ripping around town. And that, if that scene does not happen in the movie, I honestly, as cliche as it might be and as expected as it might be, I might be really upset. And then when we go into Living Dead Girl, Living Dead Girl is the one song off this album you will guarantee I will put into a mix still. I love Living Dead Girl. It is a whole lot of electronic, sexy metal. I'm not big on the electronic metal hybrid kind of thing, that industrialized kind of thing. That's a lot of the reasons why I was never huge on on White Zombie. And I will get into that when I get into the Greatest Hits album. I was never a huge fan of White Zombie. This album, to me, has a lot of White Zombie in it still, which is why I'm not overly huge on this album either, to be completely honest. But Living Dead Girl, I really do enjoy. Oh, it's really cherry. Mwah, very cherry. Perversion 99 is just a filler. It's not a bad one, but it's a filler. Demonoid Phenomenon. This is one of those ones that's great where you want to get your headbang on and slam your fist. Demonoid Phenomenon. Like you really kind of bang your head on that. But still, it is. Spook Show Baby. Spook Show Baby is a little bit different, but not different enough to make it really memorable. When it comes to Rob Zombie, I really don't have to go back and re-listen to most of the albums before doing reviews for them, unless it's a new album and, I'm covering it fresh, obviously. But Sinister Urge, I've listened to Sinister Urge so much, I still listen to it so much that I don't really have to re-listen to it to go back and re-listen to it to do a review for it. This one I absolutely had to, because Spook Show Baby, I could not remember Spook Show Baby. And when I put it on, I was like, oh, okay. And as I'm going through, I'm like, oh, now I remember why I don't really remember it. Because it's kind of got this cool Latin kind of vibe in the beginning, but then quickly devolves into a standard Rob Zombie song. That goes into How to Make a Monster, which is another soundscape. Meet the Creeper. It's basic for Rob. It's very basic for Rob. Nothing overly impressive, nothing overly great. The Ballad of Resurrection Joe. I have the same problem with this one. There's something about Ballad of Resurrection Joe that's kind of cool. Probably just the lyrics to me, it's the Ballad of Resurrection Joe and Rosa Horror specifically. And it's kind of interesting, but it's kind of not interesting. It doesn't pop. It's not a memorable one at the end of the day. What Lurks on Channel X is basically an extended length soundscape to me, maybe a song. It's an album filler. Return of the Phantom Stranger is kind of basically cliche Rob, and then the beginning of the end is kind of album filler. The whole way around, honestly, Dragula, Living Dead Girl, Demonoid Phenomenon, those are the standouts. Super Beast for some people, not for me so much. I had to throw this on to give it a listen because it's been so long since I've listened to it. I really don't think I've listened to this album in a decade or more. It's the one Rob Zombie album I was never a huge fan of. I bought it when it first came out. This is my original, brand new release copy. Because I wanted to give White Zombie a try. I heard the single for Dragula, really wanted to give Rob Zombie a go. Gave it a go, wasn't overly impressed. That was that. So, let me move on to the single. First off, that is, I believe, the one and the only Sherry Moon Zombie. The woman is sexy. I'm not usually into thin blondes, but the woman's sex. She knows how to work it. She carries herself with that demeanor, and not when she does the stupid little girl, high pitched girly voice thing. No, I'm not talking that shit. I'm just the whole way around. She carries herself in a way that I admire. It's there's something about her that's cool. Um, so the believe it or not, I have owned this as long as I have owned this. The music store I like to frequent, it's changed ownership back from when I bought this album to when I go there now. Changed ownership at this point. It's been quite a while, and when it was under the old ownership, I was really good on really good terms with the guys that work the counter, the management guys of the place. So when stuff like this would come in, special promo singles and stuff like that, they would be cool and they'd put them aside for me. Because that's what this is. It's a promo single and it's not for resale. I had never, ever listened to this prior to today. Today is the very first time I ever listened to the B-side on here. I've only had a working record player, a proper working record player for a few years. One that's worth putting albums on. You're not going to screw up your albums, like a quality vinyl for something like this, a special promo copy, right? And they didn't do a ton of vinyl back in the 90s. I mean, they did some, but not a lot. Not like they do now. Vinyl's a huge thing again. This was the tail end of the 90s. This is when CDs ruled it all. And just before digital, so it was still CDs hardcore. So this was cool to have. I listened to this, I put on the B-side. The B-side, Super Monster Sex, featuring Kitty Moon, or maybe it's Super Monster or Sex Action, sorry, featuring Kitty Moon, Do It Baby. That's the B-side here. And it does a variation of this B-side, or at least the music, I think, that's behind the B-side, the music scape that's going on. Because that's all it is. It's a 3-minute extended soundscape, basically. It'd be a filler. It is. It's a filler as a B-side. It's kind of cool. It's not bad. I do enjoy it. Will I put it on again anytime in the near future? No. It wasn't that cool. Do I like having this special promotional single that's been sitting in my collection forever and has only ever been played once, and that one time was today for this review? Yes. So those are my thoughts, folks. I want to say, let me be very clear. I know it makes it sound like I really don't like this album, and I really don't like this album. As far as Rob Zombie goes, it was a good start. It got a lot better. I am a Rob Zombie fan. I am quite the Rob Zombie fan. I've seen Rob Zombie live. I've covered Rob Zombie reviews in the past. I've done at least one review. I know I did the new album when it came out there. Give me a second because I totally blanked on what it was. What was that? The one that was it the Electric? No. Did I not load it in? Oh, there it is. Yeah, it was. Okay. Yeah, so I believe I did cover the lunar injection. The lunar injection Kool-Aid, blah, 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 blah. I'm pretty sure I've covered that. Yeah, because it was a brand new album, so I covered it as a new album. I love Rob Zombie. I've seen Rob Zombie live. He is definitely amazing live. There are very few. Rob Zombie is one of the few concerts I have walked out of where my neck, I banged my head hard. In all my years of going to concerts, Rob Zombie is the concert. I mean, I've been to Metallica a couple times too. Rob Zombie is the one where I could not help but bang my head the hardest. Rob Zombie is like the greatest for groove and music and everything like that. But this album is not the Rob Zombie album I would ever suggest for anybody to get into. It's one of those ones in the back catalog. I'm like, okay, after you picked up this, and this album, then maybe go back and pick up that album, because that album, you got to have it just to say you have it. But I don't even really truly believe that but I'll explain more about that when I get into the past, present, and future album. Anyways, folks, those are my thoughts and views on this album. Let me know what your thoughts and views are. That's what the comment section is for. If you think I'm completely full of it on this album, feel free to tell me so. I don't think I'm full of it on this album. I think Rob Zombie's best albums were still ahead of him at this point. But let me know what you think in the comment section. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. That subscribe button is really, really important to me right now. I'm really trying to get my viewership up. Or not the viewership up, but the subscribe rate. Well, the viewership up, obviously. But the subscribe rate, I'd really like to get up because that way I can do live streams. And with concerts coming back up and going to concerts, not that I go to a ton of them, but I want to be able to broadcast before the concert, after the concert, do it live to show people what's going on, stuff like that. Outside of that, there's also a Patreon link below. You know how that pitch works. Peace, love, take care.